we knew it was going to happen. Sorry about the voice. I was sick all last week, still heavily congested. We knew it was going to happen. We knew it was just a matter of time. But before we get into it, do you remember this?
Hey, big Fox News alert we've been covering for you all morning long. Hunter Biden's pardon comes after months of the White House insisting the president will not let his son off the hook.
From a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. I can say that it is still very much a no to the questions that I've gotten about if the president's going to pardon his son.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
So they were very clear, and they were very clear that we're not going to pardon Hunter, well, right until the end of my presidency, which we knew was going to be this year because, Joe Biden, even before the disastrous debate against Donald Trump, we knew Joe Biden couldn't win. I mean, his entire administration has been nothing but a joke. I mean, it is literally what I call the clown car administration. A bunch of DEI hires, unqualified for the job. I mean, look at the damn train wrecks. I've never seen this many train wrecks under Pete Buttigieg than I've seen in my entire lifetime as I've seen over the last 4 years. It was like there for a while. Every single week there's another train wreck that was going on, which pretty much sums up the Biden administration. But, we all knew he was going to pardon Hunter. I mean, like I said, we knew it'd be long because Joe Biden couldn't win. Of course, they put in Kamala, and we knew Kamala didn't stand a chance in hell because she's literally the dumbest person to ever run for presidency. But the thing that gets us, you just saw, the tape I just played, of all the times, and that's just a chip of all the times they said that they were not going to pardon Hunter. And of course, Joe Biden, right on cue, comes out and pardons Hunter. So let's get something straight right before I get into this next part of it. You remember when all the persecutions and prosecutions were going on against Donald Trump? Every time we turned around, there was a new charge. Every time we turned around, they were literally just throwing everything against the wall, and if something even stuck for a second, okay, file it against Donald Trump. And all I heard from the liberals and the left was, no one's above the law. That's all I heard. For 2 years, that's all we heard. No one's above the law. If Donald Trump committed the crime, then Donald Trump needs to go to prison for his crimes. So what you really meant was no one's above the law except the Bidens. Because let's do a little recap here. Just a little recap. They went after Joe Biden's corrupt DOJ and FBI went after Donald Trump for the classified documents down at Mar-a-Lago. Now, Donald Trump, when he took those classified documents, Donald Trump was the sitting president, which has full power and authority to take classified documents. Because in reality, he's the only person that has authority to take classified documents. The only one. And let's also be honest about this. And if you say this isn't true, well, then you're a liar. You're lying to yourself. All presidents have classified documents. Reagan had them after he got out of office. The Bushes had them. Obama had them. Clinton had them. Come on. Everybody has them. We all know this. They all have classified documents. But Joe Biden had tons of classified documents that he was never allowed to have. Because when he took the classified documents, he was not the sitting president. He took them as a vice president and as a senator. And a senator and a vice president is not allowed to take classified documents from the archives. That is breaking the law. That is literally a crime for somebody to take those documents except for the president. So we go after Donald Trump for it, but we don't go after Joe Biden for it. For Joe Biden, the excuse is, well, he gave them back. Oh. So if I rob a bank, I get caught, I give back all the money, then I'm no longer a bank robber? Is that how it works? Please explain this to me, liberals, because I've heard that argument 1,000 times. Well, he gave him back. Oh, so there was no crime committed. No crime committed. If I shoot somebody in the shoulder and I run over there, pull the bullet out, throw a stitch in it, pat him on his back and send him on his way, no crime committed, right? Innocent. No crime committed. Because by your insane thinking, that's what you're saying. That since Joe Biden gave back documents that he stole decades ago, then there's really no crime committed. Well, that's wrong. That's 1,000% wrong. But that was the excuse the liberals and the Democrats used. He gave him back. So therefore, there's no crime. It's not how it works. If I give back the money at the bank, there's still a crime. I'm still going to jail. So not only did Joe Biden have classified documents everywhere, he had them unsecured, had them sitting in a freaking garage, and they send in her to do an investigation. And he puts in the report, he's a feeble old man with a bad memory. No reason for us to really prosecute him. He wouldn't survive the prison term anyway. So Joe Biden gets a walk. Now, granted, he's a feeble old man with a bad memory that we can't prosecute, but we can leave him as the president. Yeah, completely makes sense to me. And then again, no one's above the law, well, unless you're Hunter Biden. Because now Hunter Biden gets a full pass on all of his federal crimes. And from what I understand, and like I said, I'm still kind of getting the ifs, ands, and buts about this, but because of the Supreme Court's decision that they gave, for a sitting president, the power they give him, they were using it for Donald Trump and get all the insane cases against Donald Trump, which we all know is BS. And in the whole world knew they were BS. That's why he won in a historic fashion. I mean, come on. That they do allow the president a certain bit of latitude, a certain bit of power that's beyond the norm, and I understand that. And I do think that is a good decision. You cannot put a president in a box when everybody else is playing outside the box and say you can only make decisions that are contained in this box. You simply cannot do that when you're running the world's strongest and biggest economy. You cannot do that. And on that note, I don't want to know the things that Donald Trump knows. I don't want to have to know the things that he has to go to bed with every single day or any other president in the world. It is literally the hardest job in the world, is the president of the United States. So you have to allow them some latitude on the things that they have to do, the decisions they have to make. And in that, from what I understand, also comes a little more latitude when Joe Biden gives Hunter this pardon. I'm not exactly sure how it ties together, but I was listening to some newscast, and they were talking about this exact thing. And that was just this morning when I was listening to it, so I don't know all the ifs, ands, and buts. But apparently this is going to absolve Hunter of everything he's ever done. I mean, he's been absolved of all his sins. Boom. Done. Out. Gone. Finished. But let's take a look at this for a minute. So no one's above the law unless your name is Biden. So Hunter, tax evasion, what was it, $1.2, $1.4 million? How many people went to jail for a much lesser charge? A much lesser, 200,000. Boom, 10 months in jail. Wesley Snipes, he did what, 2-3 years in prison for the same exact crime. But I guess if his name was Wesley Snipes Biden, then he'd have been okay. And let's not forget about sex trafficking. How many times did Hunter Biden violate the Mann Act? How many times? Yeah. Federal charges for what he did. Well, we'll just wipe those away too. Sweep him up under the rug. Nobody will ever see him again. Gone. And how many illegal substances did, the guy's so high and so misguided and so stupid, he videotapes himself doing crack in a room with a prostitute that he flew in from another state. How many crimes did he commit in that one act? Oh my God. But we're just going to go ahead and we're going to let that go too. We're just going to let it slide. It's all good. It's all good, Joey babe. We're Bidens. Because no one's above the law except us. And this is absolute proof that the Bidens can do whatever they want to do and get away with it and everything's okay. Because here's the deal. When Hunter Biden was going to court, he pled guilty to these charges. And why did he plead guilty? He pled guilty because that would seal everything up. The laptop, had he pled not guilty, the contents of that laptop would have went out as public information, and they could not have that. What is on that laptop, I'm going to tell you now, is incredibly damaging to the entire Biden crime empire. That's why Hunter Biden pled guilty. Because he knew his dad was going to be a one-term president, as everybody did. He also knew that would seal the contents of that laptop. They would never come to light. And he also knew Daddy was going to give him a pardon. So the whole thing gets washed away. It's all gone. So now we'll never know what the hell happened. And that's one reason I am so thankful to God that we got the Donald Trump presidency back in office. Because when Donald Trump was president 4 years ago, everybody knew everything this guy was doing all the time. We didn't know shit what the Bidens were doing. Their backroom deals, sitting around drinking freaking brandies, smoking cigars, selling off God knows what of the United States. This has been the most untransparent administration in my lifetime. So now we'll never know. We'll never know because all the crimes are gone. All the crimes are gone. And it's a lot of crime. And that was the deal going at, son, if you plead guilty before I leave office, I'm going to give you a pardon anyway. And that way we keep everything in house. Nobody gets to know all the corruption we've been involved in. That's what pisses me off about it. I don't care that he gave his son a pardon. Shit, if I was president, I would do the same thing. Granted, I doubt my son would be as corrupt and dirty and unethical as Hunter Biden would be, which is, by the way, the smartest guy that Joey knows. But before we get into that, here, I got to read this. So Joe Biden comes out and releases a statement after he does this thing with Hunter Biden here. Today, I signed a pardon for my son, Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. First off, you did not keep your word. I don't even know why you would say I kept my word. Okay, I'm never going to do this, but I'm sitting here doing it right now, but I kept my word. I kept my word. What? How did you keep your word? You did the one thing you said you would never do. So exactly how is that keeping? Oh, you're Joe Biden. You lie all the time. My bad. My bad. You lied from the day you got in office. The last debate against Donald Trump in 2019, you lied the entire damn debate. The entirety of the debate was a lie by Joe Biden, and nobody called him out on it. It was go back and watch it. They were all lies. Everything he said was a lie. So you've been lying your entire life. So I understand why you did that. But let's talk about being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. You mean like Donald Trump? Is that what you're talking about? Lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And nobody believes you because if we believed you, Donald Trump would not be president today. You know, had you done one or two lawsuits, maybe we'd have bought it. But you just kept stacking them on. You were taking federal lawsuits that had been dropped and bringing them down to a state level and trying to prosecute them for them. That's not even legal. But you did it anyway because you're Democrats, and that's one thing you all do. You know, the law, the law's for all of us peons. It's not for the Bidens. It's not for the elite Democrats. The law's for us. They have no law to abide by, and that's obvious as we're watching. We're literally watching this unfold in front of our eyes. Without aggravating factors like the use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, whatever, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. Okay, so first off, Joe Biden, you're the one that championed for this. Before any of this happened, you're one of the purveyors of all the you know, if you're a known drug addict or a felon, you cannot get a gun. And then your son turns right around and does the very thing you championed for. Does against the very thing you championed for. But now all of a sudden we're cool with it. We're cool with it. We're good. It don't matter. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions, but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties, are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently. Oh, you're right. He was treated differently. He was treated with privilege. How many people have gone to jail for tax evasion? Millions have gone to jail for tax evasion. Like I said, Wesley Snipes did what? 3 years for a lesser crime than Hunter Biden. A lesser crime. Now, if his name was Wesley Snipes Biden, we'd have kicked it right off, swept it under the rug. He'd have been good. How many people have gone to jail for lesser crimes than Hunter Biden? If you're trafficking sex, boom, you go to prison. Not Hunter Biden. And he's got it on videotape and still walks. This guy's done more freaking drugs than Escobar. Hunter Biden walks. It's all good. But let's be clear about this. Hunter Biden is not going to be the only Biden to walk from this. Joe Biden, he's going to start passing out blanket pardons to everybody in the Biden crime family. Keep it all in house, baby. If it all stays in house, then nobody knows what happens inside the house. Pardons are going to start dropping like raindrops anytime now. Before he leaves office, he's going to get this one, let the dust settle. Because I've said this in earlier podcasts. With so much information out there and our ability to get information 24 hours a day, the news cycle moves so fast that in 3 days, this will be forgotten about. Just like Donald Trump, the first assassination, the one we got shot. I said it on my podcast. I said within a week, nobody will be talking about this because the news cycle moves so fast. So Joe Biden's going to let the dust settle. Then we're going to start dishing out a few more pardons here and there. The Biden crime family. Keep it all in house. If everything stays inside, then nobody outside knows what's going on. And that's kind of been, the whole, I guess, the best way to sum up the whole Biden presidency has been that. Let's keep it all in house, then nobody outside of the house knows what's going on because we have no idea what the hell goes on with the Joe Biden presidency. I mean, dude, they are not clear about anything. They have hid, covered up, lied, you name it, they've done it. These guys have done it. No transparency at all. Thank God Donald Trump is back in office so we can at least finally see what the hell our government does for us. Because we sure as hell don't see it with Joe Biden. We saw a lot of money getting wasted, all kinds of crimes being committed, open borders, record fentanyl deaths, China buying up our entire country. The Bidens making hundreds of millions out of China. Don't know what for because it's all kept in house. We'll never know what for. Unless, why do you think that the war in Ukraine is so important to the Bidens? Think about this. Why do they want the war in Israel stopped today, but not the war in Ukraine? Why are they funding this war? Because the Ukraine is corrupt. I'm not saying the Ukraine people. I'm saying its government is corrupt. The Bidens, the Democrats, have been laundering money over there forever. Why would they want this war to continue? Why would they not want it stopped? But they're doing everything they can to stop the war in Israel. Think about it. There's no money in the Israel war for the Democrats. There's billions in the Ukrainian war for the Democrats. Think about it. Why would they not try to end that war? This war's been going on for how long now? No end in sight until Donald Trump comes up and finally does something about it. And I hate to say it, but they're losing Crimea. That's just the way it is. Hell, there's more Russians that live there than Ukrainians anyway. And if you give Crimea back to Russia and it stops the war, then it saves what's left of Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. Let's stop the war. Come on. But there's no money in it for the Democrats. No money in it for the Democrats at all.
All right, our top story. President Biden yesterday pardoned his son Hunter after promising the American people that he would let his son face the music for what he did.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Whatever, Joe. Like I said, you were lying the day you got in office. You lied through the entire debates. You've lied to the American people your entire time in office. Your whole family's corrupt. This is, the charges against Hunter Biden were pages and pages and pages and pages long, and he gets a walk. So like I was saying, so for all you people who are screaming, nobody's above the law, and talking about Donald Trump, sorry about the voice, that nobody's above the law, talking about Donald Trump, what you need to say from now on is nobody's above the law except the Bidens. Because we've just seen with our own eyes, our own ears, we've heard it, we've seen it, that the Bidens can commit any crime they want and get away free.